Hey guys, welcome to CCHS. Today we are going to check the Carokann Classical game played between Torre and Viktor Korchnoi in 1978. Let's get started. Torre started with e4. Viktor replayed c6, d4, d5, knight c3. The Carokann Classical. D into e4, knight into e4. Here there are so many variations for black is available. Black can go bishop f5 or nb d7, but Victor in this game played knight f6 variation, challenging the knight on e4. White played knight into f6 check. Again, black is having two choices. If black wants to go aggressive, he can go g into f6, or black want to play a solid game, you can go e into f6. In the actual game, Victor played e into f6. White replayed knight f3, bishop to d6, bishop e2, knight a6. Instead of knight a6, black can also try a castle option, but Victor is going for knight a6 option. Here white replayed castle. Instead of castle, some players might be thinking about bishop into a6, which is not really good for white. You will see what happens. Bishop into a6, then black will continue q into f5 check, c3, q into a6, q into e2 check, q into e2, king into e2, bishop f5. And clearly black is better. Black is having a double bishop pair, and it is very difficult to attack for white. So after knight a6, white should continue castle. Victor played knight c7, c4, trying to maximize the space and using the queenside majority. Black played castle, bishop to e3. Instead of bishop to e3, if white plays something like d5, that's a premature attack. Black can respond c into d5, c into d5, and knight into d5. Black clearly wins the pawn. If white takes q into d5, it's a blunder. Bishop into h2 check, knight into h2, and q into d5. Black wins the q. So after castle, white continued bishop e3, rook to e8, q on d2, bishop to f5. Victor is trying to install his bishop to e4 and try to dominate the center. White replayed ra d1, bishop to e4, q on c1. White is retreating the q to c1 with the idea of bringing knight to d2, h6, creating a flight square to the bishop on e4, knight d2, bishop to h7, bishop f3, some control over h1 to a8 diagonal. Here black played f5, trying to prevent knight e4 stuff. White replied knight b3. Here Victor played aggressive move g5. Instead of g5, even black can try q on f6, which is also solid, but g5 is much aggressive. Knight to a5, hitting the pawn on b7. Here guys, pause the video and try to find the best move. Hope you guys found the right move. Here Victor is not worried about losing the pawn on b7. Instead he went for much aggressive g4. Bishop to e2. Instead of bishop e2, if white takes knight into b7, and we have a beautiful shot. Bishop into h2 check, king into h2, q and h4 check, king to g1, g takes f3, and g takes f3, and rook e6, and clear winning for black. Next rook g6 is coming, and you can see a lot of dangerous attack is coming on the king side. So after g4, it's not really possible to take on b7. So white played bishop to e2, bishop b4, knight into b7, q into c8, knight to c5, f4, bishop into g4. Instead of bishop into g4, if white takes bishop into f4, black can take on e2, bishop into c7, q into c7, q into h6, and q into c8. Clearly black is material up, and even black can bring the defense by playing q and f8 later. So after f4, it's not really possible to take on bishop into f4. So white went bishop into g4, q into g4, bishop into f4, knight e6, bishop to e3, ra d8, knight to d3, bishop to d6, knight e5, bishop into e5, d into e5, bishop to d3, f3. White is trying to counterattack, q into c4, q into c4, bishop into c4, rook into d8. Here Viktor played knight into d8 with the idea of pressuring the e5 pawn, rook to d1, bishop into a2, bishop into a7, bishop d5, trying to prevent rook d7, f4, knight e6, bishop e3, h5, preventing the g4 push, h3, rook to b8, rook d2, rook b3, king f2, h4, rook to c2, and one more, black gets the advantage. Yes, bishop into g2. If white takes king into g2, black can continue rook into e3, and black is clearly material up, and white resign the game. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. If you like the video, share the video to your friends, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe our channel. I'm signing off. Bye and love you all.